Off the coast of Raven's Hollow, a group of divers descended into the murky depths, drawn by tales of a sunken pirate ship. Their search led them to the ghostly remains of the Black Mariner, a pirate ship with a cursed treasure and doomed journeys. They discovered a locked iron box encrusted with sea life but unmistakably out of place amidst the wreckage. Driven by greed and curiosity, they forced the box open. A blinding flash erupted, and a dark, ghostly form surged upwards, its presence swirling with anger and hatred. It was the soul of the pirate captain, imprisoned for centuries, now released and seeking vengeance. Terrified, the divers scrambled back to their boat, fleeing towards the shore with the box and a few shiny trinkets, including a glimmering gem that seemed to pulse with an ominous light. They didn't realize they had awakened an enraged spirit, hell-bent on vengeance. The coastal village of Raven's Hollow was no stranger to mist, but the fog that rolled in that fateful evening was unlike any other. It crept in from the sea, from the pirates' shipwreck, thick and stiff, swallowing the streets and houses in its opaque embrace. It moved with an almost awakened purpose, winding through the narrow alleys and around the ancient, weather-beaten buildings of the village. As the fog enveloped the town, a faint non-stop whispering seemed to originate from within, a chorus of hushed voices that spoke in tongues unknown. The villagers, gathered in their homes, listened with a growing sense of fear. The whispers were not just sounds, they were painful cries. Among the residents was Eliza, a young woman known for her curiosity and strong will. Standing by her window, she watched the fog thicken, feeling an inexplicable pull towards it. Driven by her curiosity, Eliza went to the edge of the village, by the old unused lighthouse where the fog took on a menacing form. Eliza felt a chill run down her spine as she watched the small boat hastily dock. The divers, faces pale with fear, rushed out, clutching the box tightly, their eyes wide with terror. Drawn by a mix of fear and fascination, Eliza ventured towards the chapel's cemetery. A ghastly scene unfolded. Shadowy figures covered in seaweed and shells moved with jerky, unnatural motions. They were the spectral remnants of the Black Mariner's crew, their forms twisted by the sea's cruel embrace. Their moans, a chorus of pain and anger, filled the night air. Eliza, witnessing this chilling sight, realized in a moment of abject horror that the fog was a gateway, a bridge between the living and the dead, opened by the divers' reckless actions. A colossal figure emerged from the mist. It was the spirit of the pirate captain, his wrath directed at the village because their ancestors had betrayed and imprisoned him centuries ago. Eliza ran, reaching the safety of her home, her mind racing. The village would never be the same. The fog had unleashed the fury of a long-dead pirate captain and his crew. Raven's Hollow had become a battleground for the sins of its ancestors. At the local inn, a sense of dread hung heavily in the air. The regulars, usually fearless by the impulses of the sea, now peered out with a mix of fear and unease. Old Thomas, the innkeeper, known for his tales of maritime wisdom, had never encountered a fog that whispered with the voices of the damned. His warnings for everyone to stay indoors were met with a nervous laughter. Eliza, with a determination driven by her dreadful experience at the chapel cemetery, knew she had to confront the source of this nightmare. She went to meet Thomas, the one person in the village she trusted with her suspicions. Breathlessly, she recounted the sighting of the divers and their mysterious treasure, suspecting their connection to the ominous fog. Together, they braved the nasty fog, heading to the village's crumbling library, a repository of maritime history and forgotten tales. The oppressive fog seemed to watch them, its unseen eyes weighing heavily upon their shoulders. In the library, they frantically scoured through ancient logbooks and ancient manuscripts. Eliza uncovered the chilling tale of the Black Mariner, the cursed pirate ship, overpowered by the villagers' ancestors, had been rumored to carry an accursed artifact, a gem that enraged the sea itself. The tale painted a grim picture. The villagers had fought and killed the pirates, and in a desperate act, sealed the pirate captain's soul within a hidden box before sending the ship to the ocean's depths. As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, the library shook, as though echoing with the dark energy of their discovery. The artifact, now in the hands of the divers, was the catalyst. Its disturbance had awakened the bitter spirits lurking in the fog. They had to find the gem the divers took and return it to its watery grave. Their realization was abruptly cut short as the library's windows shattered, the fog invading like a predatory wave. Ghostly hands, cold and despairing, reached out from the mist, grasping for anything within their reach. Eliza and Thomas, hearts pounding with terror, fled the library, navigating the once familiar streets now morphed with horror, with the ghostly sailors pursuing them with their drowning out screams. Eliza and Thomas located the divers back at the inn, desperately trying to escape the horror they unleashed. The divers rapidly packed their car, intending to flee Raven's Hollow. Eliza and Thomas, determined to end the nightmare, confronted them. Outnumbered, the divers lashed out violently, knocking Eliza to the ground. In a moment of fierce protection, Thomas dashed into the inn and emerged with a shotgun. A single resounding shot echoed through the fog, killing one of the divers instantly. The others, now subdued by fear and the stark reality of their situation, surrendered, releasing Eliza. With the gem finally in their possession, Eliza and Thomas raced to the harbor. The sea, as if reflecting the turmoil of the village, shook violently. Waves crashed against the docks with a force that seemed to shake the earth itself. The ghostly sailors, their faces contorted in unspeakable agony and rage, converged upon them. Fighting their way through the spectral horde, Eliza clutched the gem, its sinister light pulsating in rhythm with her racing heart. They reached the pier's end, where the spirit of the pirate captain, a towering wave of malevolence, loomed over them, its presence oppressive and terrifying. In the village, the air was filled by the heightened screams of the ghostly sailors, windows shattering under the intensity of their cries. The villagers, paralyzed by fear, cowered in their homes, realizing that the legend of the Black Mariner is now a harrowing reality. Standing at the end of the pier, Eliza knew what she had to do. Thomas, amidst his battle with the undead sailors, shouted for her to approach the captain's spirit. With a determined cry, Eliza raised the gem high above her head and with all her might, threw it into the heart of the spectral pirate captain. The sea erupted as the gem's energy clashed violently with the spirit's fury. Time seemed to stand still as the gem descended into the watery depths, its light diminishing until swallowed by the darkness. A profound silence enveloped Raven's Hollow as the gem and the spirit both disappeared beneath the waves. The tumultuous sea calmed, and the malicious fog began to recede, signaling a temporary defeat. However, the aftermath was far from peaceful. The ghostly sailors stood frozen, their once hollow eyes now filled with a haunting realization as the spirit of the pirate captain vanished into the sea's depths, leaving a village hovering on the edge of ruin. Exhausted and shaken, Eliza looked back at Thomas, but he was motionless on the ground, defeated by the undead sailors. Eliza, sobbing about her friend, she headed back and wandered through the silent streets at dawn, the village emerging as a mere shadow of what it once was, its vibrant life now just a haunting memory. But a new terror dawned with the morning light. The villagers who had witnessed the ghastly events began to transform. Their eyes glazed over, their movements became slow, almost puppet-like, as if they were no longer masters of their own bodies. Eliza watched, horrified, as one by one they turned into ghostly figures, their flesh becoming translucent, trapped in a limbo between life and death. It was a cruel punishment for their ancestors' silence over the village's dark history. As she left the ghost town behind, the ominous question lingered in the air: who will the spirits of Raven's Hollow come for next?